Yay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, Internet peeps. Welcome to our bi weekly podcast where we talk about video games. This is Escape from SideQuest. I am Joe Doves.
My name is Andy.
And yeah, a lot of shit has happened. Last week I had a storm coming through, so that's why we are a little bit late on this podcast because, life likes to get in the way sometimes, and sometimes nature does too.
It stormed here today. In fact, for a second I thought we were going to have to delay again, but it stopped.
That's good. Maybe we were destined to do the podcast today. Anyways, Andy, what the hell have you been playing? It looks like you got a bigger list than I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in a real game mood lately. I'm still playing GTA Online once in a while. I finally beat Sonic Adventure 2 and immediately moved on to Shadow the Hedgehog, which I picked up for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
The game's not good. It's just I feel this weird compulsion to play it, so I'm just gonna do it.
Is that this
Uh,
like the Cyberpunk Sonic game?
Sorta. I don't know if I'd call it cyberpunk because I like cyberpunk, but I don't know, it's like real dark and it's about Shadow instead of Sonic. And he can use guns. And he's got a motorcycle, and I don't know. I don't. It's hard. I don't. It's weird.
Yeah,
Sega was in a weird place.
yeah. I've always saw it. Like, I think this was during like when I was like, oh my god, Sonic games are just not the greatest anymore. I don't know if I want to get it, but
I mean, I didn't for sure.
mm-hmm. And then eventually, like, you play these games and you're like, they're not that bad. I mean, they're not the typical Sonic game that we're used to. Like, Sonic Mania is pretty much the closest thing you'll ever get to like an actual Sonic game. But it's good to think of other gaming ideas instead of the original idea.
I guess some stuff translates to other places better than others, and there are good 3D Sonic games. Like I like Sonic Adventure a lot. Um, People seem to like Heroes and Colors and Lost World. Apparently was decent.
What was the one with the werewolf?
Unchained, something. I think it's Unchained.
Mm-hmm. That I thought that was pretty decent.
I haven't got to that one yet.
Yeah, I see you play Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, I've never beat it before, so every once in a while I'll play a couple levels of it. Same thing with. I'm also trying to get through Metal Gear Solid VR missions. I rented it a lot as a kid, but I never owned it until recently.
Yeah,
Um,
that game when because it was big for me when Metal Gear VR missions came out because I was like, oh, this is interesting. Is it gonna like extend some type of story? And it's pretty much you're playing like virtual missions.
yeah, it's like his training or
Yeah,
whatever. But it's fun. I like it a lot.
and
I actually had to get it twice because the first disc was fucked. But
oh shit, what else you been playing?
Lumines Remastered came out. I got it on the Switch, and I play it constantly because it's on the Switch. You can play it while you're doing other stuff, watching something on YouTube or a movie or hanging out or doing whatever. So I mean that game's great, but I don't know what else to say about it really. Um, and then the night of NXT Takeover, a friend and I played WWF Royal Rumble '96, I think, on the Super Famicom, the Japanese version, for some reason. I don't know why.
Hmm.
And then WWF No Mercy on the Nintendo 64.
And No Mercies was my shit back then. There was a lot of wrestling games out there that you don't really talk about. I mean, WWF Royal Rumble '96 is like something that I totally forgot about.
Mm-hmm. It was really good though. The roster is fairly solid and the gameplay is fun enough. But I mean, the 64 wrestling games are where it's at. Like I hadn't played No Mercy before, and it was great. And of course, WCW versus NWO and WCW versus NWO Revenge are both classics.
Yeah, what's great about these old like wrestling games, like there's other modes that like besides the traditional go in the ring and fight. Like I forgot what other game, but you were on a like platform like on a construction site and stuff, and you would battle it out, and how you would eliminate your people just throwing them off the, the construction building, kind of like a Royal Rumble style.
Sounds like a Fire Pro wrestling game or something.
Yeah, and then there's another mode where you're in a mall, and each opponent has a car in that mall, and you have to go destroy your opponent's car until they're blown up. So like,
Alright, that's weird.
I was like, why bring that shit back? We need to step away from like the realism. Like, if you want realism, then go watch it in real life.
There's a new Fire Pro Wrestling coming out. There you go. That's what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I got it on PC. It's a cool fucking game. I recommend it. I have a shorter list than Andy because me trying to find time and motivation to play video games is pretty hard sometimes. I don't know why. I need to snap out of it. But I played Rainbow Six Siege on the PC. I bought the Season 3 pass.
I have that too. I have
Yeah.
it on PS4 though.
Yeah, I have it on PS4. I just didn't get the pass. The pass confused the shit out of me because I was like, I was thinking it was like a season pass where I get all the operators, but then
No,
when
it's for Season 3. Yeah, that's. I'm there with you. I got the Season 3 pass, but I never got the Season 1 or 2 pass.
So I was like, if I get season 3, maybe I get season 1 and 2. Is like no, and I got really disappointed because I spent like $30.
You gotta wait for them to come out.
Yeah,
We're halfway there. The next 2 operators have been announced. They just aren't out. I don't think they're out yet. Maverick and what's the woman with the shield? I don't know. There's 2 more coming soon. They talked about them at the recent Rainbow Six Open in Paris, which I watched.
And I just respect what that game has become because when I first got that game, I'm like, this is so boring because it was like a skeleton of a game. Like, it wasn't fully formed. It was technically like an early access game. Then like the strategy and how you play in that game is so fucking cool compared to other shooters out there.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. Since I changed my username on Twitch, if nobody has been following, I am now Metal Gear Nemesis. My 2 favorite franchises are Metal Gear and Resident Evil. So I decided to stream some Resident Evil the remastered because I never really played the remastered anywhere when it first came out on GameCube. I will say the backtracking in the game, nobody today, like kids today, don't know how we had it back then with the backtracking in video gaming, where the level is like, yeah, you get this key, you got to go all the way on the other side of the map. Oh, you need this item, it's on the back where you came from, so you have to go all the way back. And sometimes like enemies appear out of nowhere, like in Resident Evil Remastered. I don't remember the zombies that decided to start running at you and shit. I don't. Do you remember that in the old Resident Evil? Were there zombies that ran at you?
I don't recall them. I never played a lot of Resident Evil.
Oh, okay. Because I always thought zombies were the slow, pacing ones, not the ones that just start charging at you. And I got really scared at one point in the game. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. It's really good. How the game looks. The camera is, which I kind of really hate. I've always hated in Resident Evil the camera work in that game because it would confuse the shit out of me when I'm controlling the character. So yeah. I still in the mansion area. I haven't gone to the laboratory or the sewer yet. So I also have been playing NHL 18. Did my own franchise mode. I am 42-2. So hopefully I'll win a Stanley Cup in that.
Nah, probably not. It's not good enough.
And the last game I played it 2 days ago. It was Monster Hunter World. My friends have
What are
been
you playing it on?
PC.
Oh.
Yeah. I went on Green. I don't know if you're familiar with Green Man Gaming, but they have deals where pretty much they always have a sale on something, and Monster Hunter World was like $55 for the deluxe edition, and I was like, that's a good price. so I picked it up. And they give you a code, and then you put it into Steam, and there you go. You get the game. But Monster Hunter World is pretty much it's kind of plays like an MMO. I mean, it's more you can play on your own, and you can go hunt monsters on your own, but it's more fun if you play with other people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Division in a way. It's a Division with like a Final Fantasy theme with monsters and stuff. I did the first 2 missions, and there are play styles with each weapon that I need to learn. And because I went into it like, oh, I gotta be a hack and slash, I gotta hack the shit out of these monsters. They're like, no, each weapon you have to strategically use it. And I'm like, ah.
Have you ever played a Monster Hunter before?
Yeah, and I didn't really like it before, and it seems like this one is different as far as compared to other Monster Hunters, as my friend said. But I'm getting Monster Hunter Generations on the Switch. Well, other than that, that's all I've been playing game-wise. Let's get into some news, since we've been gone for a while.
Yeah.
IGN had a little boo-boo, and it's not really IGN's fault. It is more of this guy named Philip Mewson, who reviews a lot of Switch games, and he's also on a Nintendo podcast of theirs. I forgot the name of it. Well, yeah, it was. Boomstick Gaming found out that Philip Mewson kind of copied his review, both audio-wise and written. So he made a video about it saying, I think IGN plagiarized me and he doesn't know what to do, and he kind of compares both of the reviews, and it's pretty much similar, word for word, in a way. And IGN went into an investigation and then eventually fired him. I think it took like either a week or less than a week, or at least 4 days, until Philip came out with his so-called apology video, but didn't really apologize.
Nope.
He pretty much said, he commended Boomstick Gaming, but he didn't take he didn't say he plagiarized. He came up with excuses more, and said, I had a lot of shit to do. I didn't mean to plagiarize, and I didn't get that. It's like you copied it word for word, and then eventually you challenged Jason Schreier on Kotaku to go find more work, and he ended up finding more of his reviews being plagiarized
easily.
Yeah, and it's like even his LinkedIn account, where his resume, he plagiarized.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I just think if you're caught red-handed, just take it. Say I fucked up. Instead, what he did, he played victim. He used the victim card, and it fucking backfired on him. He had a chance to salvage his career in journalism, and now
maybe I don't know if anyone would hire him after he plagiarized. If he'd only done it once, he might have had a chance or something. But
I think they would have
been.
Why
he thought he was going to get away with it forever. That's weird.
Yeah, I just think that he should have took it and got off the internet for a while, because I don't know. It just didn't look bad that he came out with that video. It made him even look stupider, and in this business now, I don't know if anybody's going to hire him. Especially
they shouldn't. If anyone did hire him, they would lose a ton of credibility. He's done. He's washed up. Anyone who would hire him obviously don't care about their own image.
And it spits in the faces of all other reviewers that are on like YouTube or even in the IGN, is like they actually make their own content, and they do it even if it takes him hours upon hours. It just feels really lazy that he went, like a school assignment. You're like, I don't really want to write this, so I'm just going to steal somebody else's and change a few words here and there. it's really stupid that he did that because there's a lot of other people that deserve that position, and he got I believe he got it from having a successful YouTube channel, and he got in that position and he fucked up. It was stupid. Do you have any other comment about this?
No, not really. I mean, I'm glad he got fired, and I'm glad no one will probably ever hire him again. And I'm glad that he's probably gonna have to, like, I don't know, manage a Burger King somewhere or something. I mean, plagiarizing is already like one of the absolute worst things he can do in his profession. But the fact that he did it several times and then lied about it, and then also like was cocky and like challenged people to find more. So of course the internet did. Like, did he really think they weren't going to? Did he think he covered his tracks? I mean, he didn't even cover his tracks. He copied stuff word for word. So
No, he was trying. He was trying to do the internet thing where he pretty much played victim and hoped that people would sympathize for him, working all those hours to put out a video game review, which
yeah.
I bet you he didn't really play fully. You know, judging based off of how he does his work, how do I know that he's not playing these games?
Oh, he definitely didn't.
Yeah. So like that really, and what's great about this is like Boomstick Gaming, like he deserves all the credit, or which I think IGN is paying him some type of money because of the review.
I'm sure he also got a ton of attention and subscriptions and views out of the deal.
Yeah, I believe he got like 40,000 subscriptions after that debacle. And Boomstick Gaming is like, I want to know what I should do and hope that whoever did this, doesn't get fired. Like, getting fired sucks, but he does deserve it based of how many times he did it. Like, if this was the first time, and let's say the FIFA one, like those were the only two, and then he came out and said, "I'm really sorry that I did this, and I fucked up," and all that stuff, I'd probably sympathize with him. I'd probably demote him to some position where he would have to earn the trust again. But with all the other ones, especially his resume being plagiarized, I'm like, yeah, you gotta go. You obviously are not taking this work seriously where other people are and want to be in that position. But yeah. Moving on from one drama to another. Cyberpunk 2077 had a little Twitter tragedy happen where the internet likes to go crazy at times and stuff when it comes to this, but I believe Cyberpunk, they posted a picture of like two guys or something like that. I don't know, and then some guy tweeted, "I want more guys in the game." And then Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter said, "Are you assuming their gender?" And somehow that went into SJW saying that CD Projekt Red are transphobia and all that, and got hit with all backlash from the internet. Where to the point, CD Projekt Red apologized and said, "We didn't really want to offend anybody." Here's my stance. My stance is, this is Cyberpunk, where there's robots, trannies, anything in Cyberpunk. It was a small joke within their atmosphere of a game where the internet decided they got offended for no apparent reason. And the reason they did apologize is because they're a company and they want to make money on both sides of the spectrum, if you agree or disagree with some political ideas, because you never want to alienate your consumers based off of movies or comics, where you, like, if you don't like our product, then don't buy the product. And that's what you're seeing with Comicsgate. Are you familiar with Comicsgate?
No, I don't know that.
Yeah, because the SJWs are like running Marvel and stuff, they're pretty much saying if you don't like how things are happening in comics, then don't buy our comics. And with majority of the comics consumers who don't like SJWs and the comics are not buying their comics, which means their sales are going down. So, I mean, I'm not gonna go into deep with that. I really think it's dumb that people get offended on the internet for small things like this. I don't know what your point of view is, Andy.
On this specific.
Yeah, the tweet.
Oh well, I mean, when they said it, it's difficult. I don't think they were saying it like as an in-game comment or anything like that. I think they were saying it for the exact same reason that everyone says it. Like, did you just assume their gender, or did you assume my gender? It's like it's joke, and the reason people were upset is because it trivializes trans awareness and acceptance. I'm doing a really bad job putting this into words, but um, like there's a reason it's a joke. It's because people actually said that. I'm not saying it like necessarily makes it okay or whatever. I have to admit, that's been a joke before, probably like playing D&D or something. But did you assume their gender? And then everyone laughs, and then we move on with our lives. But I don't. The reason they said it in the tweet was for the exact same reason that everyone says it. They were joking around, and the reason people got upset is it trivializes people trying to be accepted as trans, and I guess I get that. But the fact of the matter is, they then said, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't mean to offend anyone. We're trying to make a dumb joke," and then people were still attacking. That's where it went too far. Like if they said something which is okay to me, but not okay to another group, and they tried to apologize to that group, and nothing came of it. Well, then what lesson is learned? I guess we just won't apologize to people anymore, or they won't try to do better by them. Well, I guess they just forget about them, I guess.
Well, the thing is, like, I didn't touch on that actually because they did get attacked when they apologized. Is that, you know, and I will label this as SJWs. When SJWs attack after an apology, they just don't want an apology. They want people fired. They want certain things to be implemented into the game to fit their needs, even though majority of the SJWs don't really buy video games or comics or watch the movies.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I'll bet you a lot of these people aren't buy that game anyway. So who cares what they think? Because I mean, obviously you can't tell just from a Twitter who's who, but still.
Mm-hmm. It's just annoying. It's like, I don't know. It's a really big rabbit hole that could be talked about and could rustle people's jimmies a lot. So anyway, let's get into some happier news in Cyberpunk. But the happy news is that the game is playable from beginning to end, as I believe one of the producers said to. I watched a Yang Ye video. Do you know who Yang Ye is?
Nope.
He's a YouTuber that usually covers a lot of video game stuff, especially with Death Stranding. But he's been covering Cyberpunk 2077. But yeah, the game is playable, but the game is not going to come out for another like 2 more years. They said, which is good because I want them to polish the shit out of this game before it comes out. And probably add more, beef up this game, kind of like how Witcher 3 was. Do you think it's going to be overwhelming like Witcher 3, where there's so much shit to do in Cyberpunk 2077?
I don't know if it'll be overwhelming. There's going to be a ton of shit to do in it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're still very much the same development team, and they've been working on this game for a long time. I imagine that's why it's playable beginning to end. I'm sure they've been working on it for a long time, and a lot of game companies like to tease stuff and get people excited and blah blah. But it seems to me, I don't know a whole lot about CD Projekt Red, but it seems to me like they were smart enough to keep it to themselves until they were really ready to show something off. And this year has been, E3 and forward has been a little more of the blitz. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited about this. Have you ever played the Cyberpunk 2070? Not the Cyberpunk tabletop game?
No, but I've read some of the source books. so I'm like kind of familiar with it, but I've never. It's so hard to get a bunch of people together to learn a whole new game mode.
Because you have to, pretty much teach them, the game and stuff,
Yeah.
and get
Yeah, everyone knows D&D, and some people know Pathfinder. It's really hard to sit people down and be like, we're going to learn the Star Wars game. We're going to learn GURPS. We're going to learn Cyberpunk, Shadowrun, whatever. And I would love to play Cyberpunk or Shadowrun, but like I said, we're lucky to play D&D once.
Mm-hmm. And those sessions usually take a long time, like usually a whole day, to be exact, to get through a campaign.
Yeah, we play for about 10 hours if we can.
Mm-hmm. I gotta get back into tabletop. I gotta get back into a lot of stuff. I gotta get this motivation to play games. I need to, pick up a controller and just say fuck it.
Every once in a while, I'm getting in the bad habit of I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to motivate myself a little bit more. I'm going to buy that game I want. I bought, apparently it's on back order anyway, but I bought Mario Tennis Aces after I was asking you about it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start playing my Switch again. I'm going to have a new game. That's probably not the smartest way to do it, but oh well.
Yeah. What sucks?
Coincidentally, I don't know. Whenever you hear this, it might not be the case anymore, but just so everyone out there knows, a bunch of the best Switch games are on sale right now for $45 instead of 60. Like Splatoon 2, Mario Tennis Aces, Odyssey, Zelda, ton of good stuff. Captain Toad is already on sale, even though it just came out, which I cannot recommend enough. If you never played Captain Toad, for the love of God, get it for the Switch. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
Speaking of Nintendo, apparently there's a direct happening. The Nindies, they're gonna have a direct soon. So
yeah, they got a ton of independent games lined up. They're doing a really good job with that.
Yeah, and apparently they're gonna have a online direct. I don't know when though. I mean, since they said
sometime in the next month, I guess.
Yeah, the last.
So there's still so many questions I have about online service. So many questions.
Well, really, and this is kind of off topic, but a little bit. Nintendo's been going after a lot of ROM sites for like emulators and suing the shit out of them.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. They've been shutting down. Eden Paradise got shut down. Other places did, and they're all places that have been around for like a decade. So I don't know why they care now.
I think it's because of the online service. I think they're going to be putting old games on there, and they don't want people going, yeah, I don't want to pay $20 a year. I could just go play the emulator on this site. So
that's what I'm thinking. I hope there's going to be a lot of games, but I still have like all the doubt.
What really pisses me off is that they're targeting these ROM sites, and they're not just saying, hey, take our shit off of there. They're putting them out of, like, in a sense, business, even though they're not making money off of it. Like, I went to go get a Resident Evil 3 Nemesis emulator or a ROM on an emulator site, and they're like, it's not there because they're like, oh, we're shutting down. And I'm like, fuck, it's not a Nintendo game unless they're getting hit by Sony too. So I don't know.
I think it's available on the PlayStation Network if you're still looking.
Yeah, I'll probably check. I eventually did find one ROM site that had it, so I do have it, but I wouldn't mind it having on my PS4 if it's like cheap. But yeah, it really upsets me, and I hope that because they're doing that, it's going to be in their online service where I could play GameCube games or old.
Look, here's the thing about ROMs. I wish they still existed. The reasons this is going to sound ridiculous. I'm not trying to be an altruist or anything, but for archival purposes, ROM sites are a great idea. Plus, it's a good way to play stuff that's like you can't get. There's a lot of Saturn games specifically that the source code is gone. They can't put it on newer systems unless it is through emulation anyway. It's going to be through emulation. Why go through all this extra effort? ROM sites are a really good idea, but at the end of the day, they are illegal. People like to use the term gray area, but no, I mean you are peddling other people's intellectual property, and it is free, which is a big deal. And I think ROM sites should remain open because I
Hmm.
really don't think they hurt Nintendo or anyone else's bottom line that much.
It's not like they're
But
making.
it's so hard to talk about because they are clearly against the law. So I don't know how to feel.
Uh, well, my thing is like these companies. It's not like they're in stores where they are still shipping it out of their. Uh, uh, I'm trying to find the right word, but like warehouses, their own warehouses where they're still making money
Well,
off of it.
sure, but if you download a ROM for Resident Evil 3 or whichever one you were talking about, that's money Capcom isn't going to make when you buy it on PlayStation Network.
Hmm.
Like they are like I said, I don't think it's hurting the bottom line that much, but it definitely is taking money from these companies. And if it's a game that isn't available any other way, I really don't see any harm in it. I don't think the game companies do either. I think there's a lot of like games that are available online, and the companies don't mind because they're not trying to sell that game. But Resident Evil 3 is very much a game that they're still trying to sell. It's still popular, and Nintendo. I mean, think about it. Mario and Metroid, Zelda, Star Fox, all that stuff, they're trying to sell us every other year again. So it is hurting them and it is illegal and it sucks. I wish ROM sites were still up, but I kind of get it at the same time.
Hmm.
Like you gave the best example just now saying, "Oh, I don't. I'll only buy it if it's really cheap. I want it for free." Well, Capcom would like money for the thing that they made.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally. Here's the thing: if there was a service, and I'm talking to Nintendo mainly, where I could go on your platform for, let's say, the price that you have at $20 a year, and I could play any game that Nintendo made or any AAA title that was on like a Super Nintendo, uh, N64, a GameCube, or even the Wii, then I would gladly give money to that intellectual property.
I'd pay more than $20 for that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have to go to these ROM sites and hope that I don't get a virus from one of these sites that look, creepy at times, and do it that way. I mean, free is good. I mean, don't get me wrong,
I
but
mean,
if
if you're downloading a ROM of like Terranigma or something, I get it.
mhm.
Uh, it was never available in this country, and even when you do find it, it's really expensive, and you can't get it digitally on the Wii U or the Switch or the Wii or the 3DS eShops. So yeah, download Terranigma all day long, man. That's fine. But I mean, if you want to play Super Mario Bros. 3, it's available on the Wii U. It's like how much are Nintendo games? $5 or $4? I don't know. And it's too much for some NES games because they have a flat rate for all the games from a certain console, which is a really dumb way to price those games because some of them are worth more than others gameplay wise.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you want to play Super Mario Brothers 3, there's like 4 or 5 different legit ways to do it.
And what kind of scares me a little bit, and the reason why Nintendo is probably suing, is so that they could sell their mini consoles to
I
people.
don't know if they sued anyone. I think they gave them cease and desist.
Well, I know, E- Emu Paradise. Um, they apparently were going to get sued for $1 million or something like that. That's what they put. Like, if you hit their question mark on why I can't download this game, it gives you like a really long response. I kind of skimmed through it, and apparently it was like $1 million. They threatened to sue, which I guess is a cease and desist.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, what is this?
uh, but yeah, I mean, I get both sides, but it's just really annoying when I have the itch to go, hey, I want to play this really old game that I have nostalgia on, and I do go to like platforms like Nintendo or even a Sony, and it's not in their platform. It kind of upsets me a little bit that I
If
can't.
it's not there, that's one of the best reasons for these ROM sites because I'm not going to get on eBay and pay Johnny Reseller $300 for a copy of Snatcher. I'm just gonna download the ISO of it and burn Snatcher and play it on my Sega.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be a Boy Scout when it comes to this kind of stuff. I downloaded an ISO for Police Knots just the other, but there's both sides. There's both sides. There's a conversation to have.
Yeah. Anyway, quick news. I just found this out. This is breaking news for probably both of us. I don't know about you, but it's breaking news to me. On Kotaku, written by Jason Schreier, by the way. Assassin's Creed is skipping 2019. The next big Assassin's Creed game won't arrive for at least another 2 years after pretty much Odyssey, which I believe is coming out September or October. I think October.
I thought October, yeah.
Yeah. Confirming that once annualized series is annualized no more. One of the French guys told we are not going to have a full-fledged Assassins next year. Ubisoft boss Youssef Guillemot, whatever, during Gamescom, he said it's just because the teams were working separately, so we have 2 games now and 1 year after another, but next year you're not going to have a fully fledged one.
That's fine. I always wondered why they thought that they needed to make an Assassin's Creed every single year. That's weird. I understand that it's a big franchise and it sells really well. It makes Ubisoft money, but why every year?
Yeah, and when the game first came out, people were like, "This is a cool concept," and then 1, 2, and 3 came out, and it's like, I like the idea that they were going all over the world and stuff and hitting those histories, but at the same time, it's like you need to slow down, take your time, and do games like Origin and Odyssey, which look pretty fucking cool, and which I do have Origin on PC, which I should get to eventually. But yeah, Andy, do you have any other news before we close out?
No, I don't guess so. The only news I really following Cyberpunk bullshit, and really I've been playing games instead of reading about them lately.
Yeah, have you been streaming lately? I haven't been checking out.
Not as much the last week or so. I have. This is gonna sound really decadent and ridiculous, but I have 2 gaming setups in my house, and there's like the modern setup and then the retro setup. The retro stuff is all wired straight into the computer. I can stream any of it anytime. But if I'm playing a PS4 game, a Switch game, really 360 and PS3 4, it's all on the HD DVD. And I don't have a streaming device over there. I'll remedy that one day. But if I'm playing that stuff, I can't stream it. So if there's a lull in my streaming schedule, it's probably because a new Switch game is playing.
Oh, and kind of quick news about Nintendo. Apparently, they're going to be having a built-in Twitch stream thing. So
really?
Yeah. So.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's wonderful. I thought they'd never do that.
Yeah, apparently that's going to be one of the updates once they start putting their online service out there. So,
excellent. Yeah, I used the PS4 one once in a while. I used it to stream a bunch of my VR stuff. That's great news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how can you catch your streams, by the way?
I am at twitch.tv/theclichemustache.
Mm-hmm. And you can catch me on twitch.tv/Metal Gear Nemesis and catch me playing games like Monster Hunter or Resident Evil or what other game that is on my backlog that I need to beat. But I think that's where we'll end our episode here for episode 6. Man, we went almost 40 minutes this episode.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We've been hitting a half an hour and change lately.
Yep. Until next time, guys. Actually, next week's episode is going to be Big Trouble Little Podcast. We were watching, I believe, Hollywood Cop on...
Hollywood Cop. Amazon Prime is streaming Hollywood Cop.
Yep.
Go watch it. Make sure that you have a few beers, Andy.
I'll probably drink the 2 shock tops that I have. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Later, guys.
Thanks for listening.